Hey guys, welcome to Ask the Vet episode 3. Sorry we're a couple of minutes late. The power went out, so I had to turn on the generator. But we've got a few questions today. So the first one came in from Vicky about midweek. She asked me, and it was really interesting because we went to a pub quiz on Monday evening, and we got into a discussion with a couple of guys about neutering and sort of sterilization and castration and everything. And these guys, one of them was a local who was kind of saying he was against sort of elective sterilization and things, which is fairly common in this area and was fairly common in Cambodia as well, for kind of cultural and religious reasons. It's kind of thought of, certainly in Cambodia, it was sort of thought of as messing with an animal unnecessarily and messing with, hi Louise, hi Alison, and messing with God's plan, I guess. Oh, there goes the electricity again. Hi Helen. And so they have a very specific or very different view to it than we do. And hi Catherine. When am I coming home for some strawberry daiquiris and pizza? Oh, that would be amazing. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. I'm home for a couple of weeks in over Christmas, but I probably won't get up to the Lake District then, sadly. Not even sure I'm going to get to Wales then. It's probably going to be just kind of around Cambridgeshire and yeah, things like that. So, but I would love to come and visit the Lake District and things again. I am working on some potential plans for next year, but yeah, trying to figure out my life is there's too many choices, which is a lovely position to be in. Right, where is this question from Vicky? Let me see if I can find it. Yes, so basically what happened was, hi Susan, we were chatting with these two guys, one of which was Kurdish, and he was against elective sterilization. He just didn't believe in it. It's kind of messing with God's plan, basically, God's natural design, I suppose. But then there was a Western guy as well, a British guy, who was also very against us neutering animals. He didn't understand it, didn't see the points of it. And we kind of got onto the discussion that a lot of men do have issues with castrating in particular. Back when I was in the UK, whenever men came in with their dogs or their cats for neutering, more dogs really, I suppose, the men would always be much more against it and take a lot more convincing to neuter their pets than the women. And so it's a very interesting gender difference, I think, because I've never had a woman, I've had them sort of ask about whether the dog will be sad that it's not going to have puppies or anything like that. But I've never had women be concerned about the animal's feelings once the uterus and the ovaries have come out, in terms of just not being able to reproduce. More kind of, if they don't have puppies, will they miss it? Not that whole very human idea of being sad about being unable to do it, if that makes sense. I don't know if it does. Let me know if it doesn't make sense. But yeah, it was interesting because we were trying to kind of explain that this overpopulation, and the only way we can really fix it is to neuter these animals. And these guys were, hi Sue, and these guys were very adamant that it was not a good idea, which was interesting, very interesting. I didn't really expect that, and you kind of expect people to understand that if you have an overpopulation of something, you need to control it. Especially, things like dogs, which are kind of evolved and designed by humans to want human interaction, which means that they're going to naturally congregate where humans congregate. I mean, even wolves, which are, you know, dogs' closest relatives, don't tend to congregate where humans congregate, whereas dogs do. You know, whether they're community dogs, feral dogs, they tend to congregate where people are, because we've selectively bred them to want our companionship, you know, over thousands and thousands of years. And so we've made this problem, and, you know, there's so many issues with overpopulation of dogs in habited areas, disease, rabies, you know, people getting bitten, dogs being abused, and so it does need to obviously be sorted. And yeah, the best and most humane way of doing that is TNR, so trap, neuter, release. Hi, Vicky. So yeah, that was an interesting discussion that we had, and I don't know if there are any men listening to this who want to throw in their 2 cents on what their thoughts are, because I do notice it is mostly men who get upset about the idea of having testicles removed, whereas yeah, women don't seem to mind the idea of ovaries being removed quite as much. Yeah, so then the other questions we had a couple of people asking about Harley, so give you a little update on her. So Harley, as you can see, is doing very well. I did have someone ask if I had was going to confirm that she was going to be mine. Yes, Alison, exactly. Whack off the balls. Unfortunately, she's not going to be mine. I would love to, and it's been a real... Hi, Zubeda. It's been a very tough week trying to figure out if I am able to take her or not. But feasibly, I just can't. Yeah, 3 dogs is just too much. I do love her. I think there is something very special about her, which is why it's been very difficult for me. But I will be finding her a home. Yeah, I'll be finding her a home, and we'll be finding her a lovely home with someone, and she'll make someone a great pet. So if anyone knows anyone that's looking for a dog, she will probably be large. I don't think she's going to be as big as some of our dogs here, but she'll be bigger than a lot of dogs back in the UK. But she's very sweet, she's very smart, she picks things up very quickly. She is so cute, isn't she, Vicky? She's a bit tired at the moment. Yeah, so she will be finding a lovely home, but sadly not with me, unfortunately. I know, yes, but she's doing very well. Question, what do we have in place for emergencies at night? Do you take turns to be on 24/7 call? So what we do is we have guys who, so we have 2 teams of Nepalese guys, and they do a 7 on 7 off rota. So they're on 24 hours a day for a week, and then they're off 24 hours a day for a week. And I live on site, and so when I'm on site, if someone comes in and something needs doing, then obviously I'll do it. If we have a patient who needs 24-hour care, then we work that out beforehand in terms of, am I going to be getting up to do the meds, or is it something that the boys can do? Because obviously they're kind of already here, if it makes sense, and we do need to make sure there's sort of a work-life balance and things. So it depends what it is. If it's something the boys can handle, then they will kind of do it. You know, if it's things like subcut injections at 10 p.m. and stuff, they're very capable of doing that. But if it's something a bit more specific, if it needs multiple IV injections, you know, paracetamol, metronidazole, they need to be given slowly over sort of half an hour. So if it's things like that, then we will sort of make sure that I'm around to wake up and do those. If it's a case of someone bringing an animal late at night, usually we actually shut the top gate, so we don't actually tend to hear. Oh, thank you, Francis. We tend to shut the gate at the top of the driveway, so we don't tend to hear people if they do try and come in late at night. But occasionally we do get someone who, if the gate's been left open, we had someone while Louise was here actually, who came and brought in a puppy that needed to be euthanized at about 11:30. But yeah, we're quite lucky that most of the time, if people need something seeing urgently, they've kind of, you know about it by 5 or 6 p.m. Sometimes Pishtawam will call me at 5 or 6 and ask if he can bring an animal for euthanasia. But usually our kind of intensive care cases, they'll usually come during the day, which is quite good. And then we're kind of prepared for seeing them at night, which is, or looking after them overnight, which is good. But yeah, we don't have a specific on-call or anything like that. And then I think, yeah, Catherine, he wouldn't get his working sheepdogs castrated. It's crazy, isn't it? They really don't want to see them. Why, Vicky, why is it so important to try and space stray cats as early as possible? I can't see the second one for some reason. Oh, power's gone out again. It won't let me hit the see more button. Don't know why. I can see if I can find it on the Facebook here. Let me see. So cats are what we call, and we were trying to discuss this with the guys actually as well on Monday. So cats are what we call induced ovulators. So they basically the reason they sort of breed like rabbits, I suppose, or like cats, is because they will essentially come into heat whenever they are mated. So if they're mated 12 times in a year, they'll come into heat 12 times in a year, and they can have 12 litters of kittens in a year. So it's not like they can only have litters twice a year or whatever like that. And what induces their ovulation is actually male cats have barbs on their penises, and the trauma caused to the female cat's inside whilst she is mated induces the ovulation. So it's pretty brutal as well, which we were trying to explain to these guys, but they seem to think that the male cat's desire to mate should be more important than the female cat's trauma, but that's a whole other question. But yeah, so basically as soon as a cat's about 4 or 5 months old, it can basically get pregnant. So we need to do them as soon as possible. And they also sort of spread a lot of diseases by fighting, and you've got things like feline immunodeficiency virus, so FIV. That's spread from fighting and close contact and things. So your male cat let me just go turn off that beeping. So male cats that are entire will fight a lot, and then they're much more prone to getting things like FIV, cat bite abscesses, in just your general injuries. They're much more likely to wander, which makes them more prone to getting hit by cars and things like that. So it is, I mean, they have done research on it, and unneutered animals tend to live about 3 years less than neutered animals. So yeah, it does make sense to get them neutered. I'm trying to see if I can, see these. Yeah, of course you can, Richard. Please go ahead and ask your question. I'm just trying to see if I can see this. Oh, there we go. And why do you find men to be more reluctant to neuter their pets? Yeah, we were chatting about this a little bit, Vicky, initially. They just have a very, very different relationship to their genitals than women do, I think. It's very tied into their masculinity and their manhood, I think. And whereas women, I guess maybe because women suffer so much more with their sort of reproductive organs, right? We have to go through menstruation and menopause and everything like this, which all sucks. So we have a bit of a love-hate relationship, I suppose a lot of women do, with their reproductive organs, whereas men, I think, just have a love relationship with them. Yeah, just waiting for Richard to ask his question if he wants to. And then I think we had another one that Louise sent me earlier. Where was that? Oh yeah, this was a good one. This one was about allergies. And whether we see fewer allergies compared to in the UK. So fewer dogs and cats suffering from allergies compared to the UK. Because we do see a lot of dogs and cats in the UK suffering from allergies. Less cats, actually. Much more dogs. I think a lot of the dogs in the UK have allergies based on breed. You have a lot of these like Frenchies, especially sort of the specific colours as well. So a lot of the blue breeds, your blue Staffies, your blue Frenchies, things like that, they get a lot of allergies and skin issues. Also your kind of white fluffy dogs get a lot of it. So I think that I was actually surprised at the number of allergy dogs that we get here. There are definitely some dogs inside the shelter with allergies. We have a few on hypoallergenic diets, and that really surprised me because I figured street dogs would just not, I wasn't really expecting to see it at all, but we definitely have 2 or 3 here that have allergies and are on either hypoallergenic food, or I've got one dog on Apoquel and another on Cytopoint. I think we tend to put skin issues here down to things like mange and parasites, and it's only if it kind of continues that we put it down to allergies. But definitely there is less than in the UK, but there is still more than I thought, which is interesting. Yeah, we have quite a few dogs that have sort of chronic-y ear infections and things as well, which I guess I wonder if it's because of sort of underlying allergies, or if it's more because of the environment in terms of do they kind of get water in their ears because they're trying to hang out in the water so much in the summer, but you would think it's quite a dry environment, so you wouldn't think there would be a lot of kind of yeasty infections or chances for yeast to grow. So I think if we do see chronic skin infections here, it's probably much more likely an actual allergy rather than environmental. Whereas I think in the UK sometimes it can be things like Labradors that shove their head underwater all the time and they never get their ears cleaned, and so then they get yeasty ear infections and things. But yeah, that would be my sort of 2 cents on that one. But yeah, Richard, please do ask your question. I don't know how to kind of comment on your comment to kind of let you ask the question. But I mean, if you want to send a message or comment on, put another comment down, then yeah, absolutely ask away. Or actually, I could see if you've replied to my comment on your thing from last week. Where was it? Here we go. Let's have a look, shall we? Yeah, I would agree with you, Catherine. I think if men had to go through childbirth and pregnancy, they would definitely be much more likely to agree with neutering their pets. How many ops do we do in a day? It's a good question. Very much depends on what else we've got booked in and how many other cases we have, but generally a lot less than we would expect to do in the UK because we don't have the support staff as much. So we do our morning meds at about 8, and then if we I think Richard has replied. Oh no, he hasn't. And then we can start on our ops. So things tend to take a little bit longer, but I think the most we tend to do in a day is about 5. We want to get 5 cats done in a day, 5 female cats done in a day. And that's if things go kind of nice and smoothly. So what I tend to do is have a day or 2 a week for sort of admin and cases, and then I have a couple of days a week for surgeries, and on the surgery days we'll book in sort of four animals, sort of 3 dogs or 4 or 5 cats, and we'll get those done. So yeah, we also work a slightly shorter day than we do in the UK, so I tend to work sort of 8 till 4 or 5, rather than your sort of like 9 till 7 that I did a lot in the UK, which is nice. I don't tend to have a lunch break here, because it just seems to get in the way. Oh yes, enjoy your dog walk, Catherine. Yeah, I don't know what the weather's like in the UK, but enjoy it. And yeah, I have to leave and watch back. Yeah, Vicky, no worries. Our Wi-Fi is always dropping in and out, so we totally understand. But yeah, I think, what else did we have last week? I think, Louise, you were asking for an update on Limpy last week. I don't know if I got around to that, but he's doing very well. We are keeping an eye on him, and he's cozy and happy. What else? Oh yeah, someone was asking about updates from what we've been up to this week. So what have we done this week? So I had a few days off at the beginning of the week, which was really nice, because I was getting quite tired towards the end of last week. So I had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, which was really nice. And then I wanted to get out to the mountains, but my van's still broken, so I was going to try and take the little work car, and then I thought better of it. But I did get a massage and went out for breakfast with a friend, so that was really nice. Foggy weather. Yeah, it's a little bit... Oh, actually, the sky's brightened up now. Hang on 2 seconds. Go for lunch? Yeah, that's fine. Sorry, she's just asking if he can go for lunch. Yeah, it was a bit cloudy this morning. How do you help with dogs who have gone through an event that has caused possible PTSD there? Interesting. We don't really, I think here, the life in general here, with people and with animals, is very in the moment. I think because of all the trauma, certainly that the people have gone through, life is very in the moment. And I think dogs in general all over the world are very in the moment animals. And I think even if they sort of go through trauma and things like that here, they very easily move on from it. So I haven't actually really seen any dogs that I would think have PTSD. I think, yeah, I mean, we've got Gemma here who had 2 of her back legs chopped off. She's very happy. Very occasionally, if she's in a particular corner in the airlock, she will be a bit what's the word I'm looking for? She will sort of randomly try and bite you, which is a bit weird. And Bora also, Togo, yes, Louise, Togo suffered quite badly, but again, so he won't necessarily let you look in his ears and things. whether that's PTSD or whether that's just a kind of learned response that he's going to, is that George saying hello? The meowing, that is Tiddles. He is, he's a little bit, I think he can hear me talking and wants some attention. He's a real lover of attention, that one. I think a lot of dogs will kind of remember pain, I suppose, and so react, if they think something's going to hurt. I don't know if they do the PTSD in terms of if there are, loud noises, will they? But I mean, if there are loud noises that they're not sure of, dogs get anxious anyway. So yeah, it's a very interesting question. I think a lot of the animals here, though, are just so focused on survival and getting through each day that it's probably not something that we see a huge amount of here, or it's not something that we would necessarily think about because there's so many other reasons for them to behave in the way they do. What else was going on? Do we find any allergies from the vaccines? I haven't. We've had a couple if we've kind of done quite a lot of things at the same time in young animals. We will see, young kittens maybe have a little bit of lethargy or diarrhea after their vaccines, but we don't tend to see any allergies, which is good. Togo, he did, I think, have a home lined up at one point, but I think Louise would be better to answer that one. I'm not 100% sure, but he is happy here. So we now let Garrett and Zada, who are in the cage in front of him, out during the day, and he's got a little bit more space and things to run around in, and yeah, he seems very happy. He seems to be enjoying life and things here, quite settled. How have Rum and Sky settled in? Yeah, a lot better than I thought they would, actually. Let me show you Rumble having a little sleep there. And then Sky pretty much spends all day outside. And yeah, just irritating all of the other dogs, basically. But yeah, they're doing well. They're doing very well considering they don't get a huge amount of exercise here. So back in the UK, I was walking them maybe, a minimum of 3 times a day, even if it was for 10 minutes each time. But usually it would be, an hour and a half a day of walking, plus running twice a week with Sky, plus, a mountain hike once or twice a week. And here they might get 1 or 2 4 to 5 kilometer walks a week. Occasionally I'll take Sky on a run. And yeah, they're doing very well. They get so much mental stimulation from the shelter, from everything that's always going on, that actually when we go back to my cabin at night, they just pass out, which is nice. Yeah, right, where are we? Yes, Donald. Yeah, no, so it's Tiddles, but Donald is doing very well. I will give you a update on him now, actually. Where are we? Let's see. Let me see if I can switch this round. Can I? Oh yeah, there we go. Here's Donald. He is doing very well. Yeah, amazingly well, actually. You can see his breathing. He's not got his sort of increased abdominal effort or anything anymore, so he's doing very well. And then we've also got this is Hero, who is going to have her, I don't know if you can see her eye. She had an eye infection, and I think she's basically sort of a similar thing has happened to what happened to Rum, in that the eye has ruptured. So we'll go in and we'll take out what's left of the eye next week. But she's doing very well. And then we have Tiddles, who is just all about the cuddles. I know, we're coming. There we go. Oh.
yeah, so he is very, very happy boy. But yeah, very, very attention starved. But he is, I think he's going in middle of December. He's heading back to his home, so he's not got too long left here. He got all of his vaccines done yesterday, and yeah, he's doing well, very well. So yeah, we're very cat full at the moment, actually, which is little Harley having a snooze. They are beautiful cats. Philippa, what? Oh, what? And Rumble. And then we do have a little update on Louis, actually. Louis was a little bit lame this morning, so he's had some Metacam, and he's resting. He's on strict rest currently, so hopefully he'll feel a little bit better tomorrow. Yeah, hi, sweetie. Hi, sweetie. I think that the dogs are much more stoic. Yes, I would agree with that. I think a lot of dogs in the UK, I suppose, again, like humans, it's sort of that thing of once all of your basic needs are met, you can start thinking about more, not superficial things, but you can start thinking about a slightly higher tier of needs that may or may not be met. Did you miss my answer? You did. I'd said that at the beginning. I'm afraid I won't be keeping Harley. It was a difficult decision, but I will be finding her a home somewhere. So that's my goal. And yeah, I can't unfortunately have 3 dogs in the van. It's just a little bit too much. And I already don't spend as much time with my own dogs as I would like. So if I added a 3rd dog to the mix, it just wouldn't be fair on any of them. But I am going to find her a home somewhere. I have spoken to someone already who's going to try and help me find her a home. So yeah, and I think he's pretty good at finding homes. You can. Oh, I know. I keep trying to yeah, my brain is having fights with itself, but no, I think 3 is too many at the moment, maybe one day, but currently it's a bit too many. Yeah, so I won't be taking Harley, which is very hard because there is something about her that I love. But yeah, she will be, I will be finding her a very good home somewhere, and she will have a great life. I can assure you of that. Yeah, so are there any more questions? Is there any particular cases people want updates on or anything like that? I think we've covered all of the questions from this week. Oh, someone was saying, what have we been up to this week? So yeah, I had my few days off, and then it's been quite a quiet week, which is actually nice. She is actually such a snuggly dog, Alison. She literally, I know, stop, I can't. She, because Sky already wants to snuggle with me. So yeah, but no, Harley is lovely actually. So if anyone knows anyone, she has energy, but currently, I mean, that might change as she gets a bit older, obviously. Currently, she's not too crazy like Louis is, but she is a real sweetie. I mean, if you'd like a 3rd dog, Alison, she is, yeah, I can send her your way. But yeah, so it's been quite a quiet week, which has been nice. We have just kind of been catching up with our cases that are in. I'm trying to sort of basically clear out as many of our temporary cases as possible so that I can then get in. There's about I think it's about 8 older puppies. I don't know if anyone remembers the 10 puppies that were dropped at the top of the driveway, the white puppies, about 4 or 5 months ago. And we're trying to get them, they basically got to the point where they were not wanting to be caught. So now none of them have had a rabies vaccine and none of them have been neutered. One of them also has an injured leg. So I'm trying to get get them darted and get them in and get them neutered and everything before kind of they all get pregnant and start having puppies. And then we've just had another 8 puppies dropped at the top of the driveway. So we have 5 tiny puppies that are about 4 weeks old maybe. And we now have another 8 puppies that are about 5 or 6 weeks old. So I'm just waiting for Truffles, Edward and Seren, who are our puppies in the donkey room currently, to have their rabies vaccine on Monday. And then I can get them out. I can get the 8 6-week-old puppies in. We can start their vaccines. We can get them neutered. And then at some point we will get the mama and young puppies also at the top of the driveway in, and we'll get them sorted. So we're trying to start focusing on the driveway dogs at the moment. I feel like I say that every month and then something happens and it all... But, I mean, we have got to the point where we're dealing with the dogs at the very top of the driveway. All of the dogs kind of towards us are neutered and vaccinated and everything, so we are getting there. It's just, it's a long process, I suppose. It was a tough decision. Talking of pampered dogs, we had a German Shepherd growing up, and when we used to go to the butcher's and get the best steak. Oh, yes. Yeah, I think we do have a lot of pampered dogs here. They're sort of in the UK even. And I actually think Sky is almost like when I go and sort of sit in my cabin and watch TV in the evenings, Sky will often lie and curl up outside on some cushions outside. She's obviously very welcome to come inside, but yeah, she'll often curl up on some cushions outside, and I kind of have to coax her in at night to sleep. And certainly during the summer, the dogs wouldn't come in at night. They would sleep outside. They preferred that. Which is nice, actually. It's nice that they get that opportunity to be a little bit more wild and natural if they want. So yeah, but they are still very pampered dogs, my two. They definitely... Rum is loving her little fluffy circular bed. She's a bit annoyed at me because I was trying to teach Dr. Zubaydah about looking in ears yesterday, and we were trying to use Rum as our test dog, and sadly Rum was not so happy about that. So we maybe need to do a little bit more training on her staying still for exams and things. But yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, if there's no more questions, then I think I will sign off for the day. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I really enjoy doing these lives. I hope you guys enjoy listening to me ramble for 45 minutes. And yeah, I will see you all next week. It was lovely to spend some time with you and chat with you all today. And thank you so much for listening. I hope you all have a great weekend.